Alexis and Jason are back and continuing their conversation about whether we are obligated to follow the law. Today, Alexis and Jason discuss whether laws should always be followed, even when those laws are unjust.
I thought a lot about what you said before, and I get where you're coming from. The Robert E. Lee statue represents values we shouldn't endorse. I agree. But I still think, all things considered, you're obligated to follow the laws.
Disagree. I don't think you're obligated to follow unjust laws.
But Jason, there is a social contract. We agree to do certain things, like follow the laws, in exchange for certain benefits, like access to roads and parks and hospitals.
The benefits of living in America do not erase the enormous consequences of being a black person in America. Our ancestors came here not as citizens, but as slaves. And America continues to benefit from the exploitation of black Americans, from redlining to mass incarceration.
I mean, yeah, that's all true, but there's still a social contract, and you can't just break it. We choose to live here, so there's a tacit agreement to follow the laws of living here. Like, not pulling down statues.
Yes, but a social contract requires that both parties enter said contract freely and equally. When you think about the history of black people in the US, can you say that it was one we chose freely?
I mean, maybe we didn't enter the social contract freely or equally, but we benefit from living here now.
Hold on. Let's say the two of us are in a voluntary agreement with society now. Even then, the terms of this contract are pretty unfair. For example, in our democracy, they say everyone is supposed to have an equal say in our politics through voting.
That's what I'm saying. One benefit of living here is that we each have the right to vote. Benefits like that are exactly why I think we ought to follow the law.
But Alexis, that's what I'm saying. Black Americans are systematically pushed out of the democratic process by voter suppression and felony disenfranchisement. This makes it a lot harder to change the social contract and eliminate the terms that disadvantage us. And I don't think we should have to honor an unjust contract.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that you can agree to follow the law, but when it seems unfair to you, you just get to break it? I don't think that's how it works. The law is kind of like a promise. Just like you would keep a promise, you should follow the law.
I don't think so. Let's say you promise to treat me to a dinner out as a thank you for storing your stuff over the summer. Now imagine I choose a 5-star restaurant and run a $500 tab because I'm just dying for some surf and turf and fine wine. Do you still think you have to keep your promise and pay for my dinner?
No way. You would be a total jerk for taking advantage of my offer like that.
Exactly. It's not true that we need to follow all the agreements we make, since the terms might turn out to be really exploitative. Keeping the promise would hurt us more than if we didn't.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but...
Wait, hear me out. Let's take it back to the social contract. The arrangement between black people in the United States is grossly unfair. We usually don't get meaningful representation in legal matters. Our neighborhoods aren't the ones that get new investments and big developments, and we are disproportionately criminalized. Why should we be expected to comply with the terms of such an unfair contract?
Yeah, I agree with you that the social contract is unfair. But breaking all the laws wouldn't make the contract any more fair. Indiscriminately breaking laws would be like throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
I'm not saying we should indiscriminately break the laws, but I think sometimes breaking unjust laws on purpose can help make the social contract more fair. Just like when people broke segregation laws during the civil rights movement, breaking the law in strategic ways can force society to reevaluate the terms of the contract.
Jason makes a really compelling point for why it is permissible to break unjust laws, as well as why it might be beneficial. We are not obligated to follow unjust laws, written by Thumim M. and Moe S. Voice acted by Isaiah T., Namrata S., and yours truly, Olive P. Produced by the Philosophy Outreach Program Corrupt the Youth, with funding from the Gold Center at Claremont McKenna College.